Hi and welcome to the Beedham Antique stand, and I'm here with Paul, and Paul's going to tell us a little bit more about this beautiful bed that we're sitting on. Elizabethan, I understand.
It is Elizabethan, Emma, yes. Elizabethan from the late 1590s to around 1600 would have been made for an important either manor house or city merchant house. It's actually made in a workshop in the city of Exeter. We, with our specialisation, were able to identify it by its carving style and designs from other pieces we've had and handled over the years, which we know have come from the Exeter workshops. The bed in an Elizabethan house would have been probably the single most costly item of wooden furniture due to the elaborateness of design and construction and the weight and timbers used in carving. But what people don't realise is they were also just a vehicle to display incredibly expensive fabrics, which would have cost far more than the bed.
This isn't the original one today, no.
Not on this one. No. These are actually Venetian Renaissance fabrics of a contemporary date, which were wall hangings, but are fairly representative of the style and standard that could have been on them. So yes, it gives a good idea, and of the colour and sumptuousness of the period.
So they'd find it awful now to think that we would buy some of our bedding from some well-known supermarket chains.
Exactly, yes.
And that we don't have ornate bedding.
Not at all. These things were, at this period, we're talking really into the realms of the hyper-wealthy of the period. This was not cottage furniture. The people they employed, they would have probably their fabric would have kept them for their life. So it's a lack of real understanding, which is inevitable today. So yes, the fabrics were at least the best English fabrics and often costly imported ones. And in period inventories you hear of imported Holland cloths, silks and ermines being used. Often the inventories are from the finest houses, so again it can give a disproportionate example, but that's what we're dealing with.
And you have a lot of other beautiful pieces around your stand, Paul. How long have you been in business, and can you tell me a little bit more about you?
Yes, we're a family business. We've been established since the early 1970s. My father was a collector prior to that, did a major life change in the early 70s. Then we relaunched as Beedham Antiques exclusively in 1980, so we've traded for over 30 years under our family name. Always specialising in English and some continental 16th and 17th century things, always specialising in the more important early furniture, things again which would have furnished the manor houses, manor farms and great baronial properties. It's a very specialised market and a very specialised taste, so we're aware our things don't suit everybody.
And you're still enjoying business today, which is the main thing. And you do have some gorgeous pieces. We have a bench here in front of us. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about that?
The bench is an early Tudor bench from around 1540 to the 1570s. A rare survival. The benches were used to dine at the long dining tables, and that was the ideal piece to sit to the tables from. So it's a piece that's seen daily use for probably a couple of hundred years or more. And yet it's survived. They're very simplistic design and construction, but that's why it has survived, because it's not too complex.
And is it quite common that it looks more worn on one end?
It can be.
And not on the other?
This particular piece has obviously been slightly sappy timber, the softer outer edges of the timber, which are more likely to erode, and it may well have had that. The damage we're seeing on this, old damage, is probably liquid erosion from things being spilled. Our furniture's not look but don't touch. It's been used for 400
Henry VIII's wine,
Absolutely.
possibly.
Exactly.
Lovely to meet you. Thank you very much for your time, Paul.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you very much.